Hey everyone, let's talk about something that could seriously impact millions of Americans. A leaked memo from the Social Security Administration just revealed some huge changes, and not in a good way. If what's in this document actually happens, it could make applying for Social Security benefits a nightmare for a lot of people. And on top of that, there's a separate policy being pushed that could stop payments for over 170,000 beneficiaries. That's not just a minor adjustment, that's life-changing for the people affected. And here's where it gets even more interesting. This memo is tied to a new agency called DOGE, run by none other than Elon Musk. Now, whether you love him, hate him, or don't care either way, the fact that he's involved in government efficiency decisions, including Social Security, has raised a lot of eyebrows. The goal, at least on paper, is to cut costs and fight fraud. But the way they're going about it, well, it's leaving a lot of people wondering if this is really about efficiency or if it's just another way to make it harder for people to get the benefits they've paid into their entire lives. Now, before we get into the details, if you find this kind of content helpful, make sure to subscribe. Staying informed is the best way to protect yourself when policies like these come up. All right, let's start with the first big change, and this one's serious. Right now, if you want to apply for Social Security over the phone, you just answer some security questions. It's not perfect, but it works for a lot of people, especially seniors who might not be comfortable online or those who don't have reliable internet access. But under this new system, that's gone. Instead, you'd have to verify your identity online. And if you can't do that, you have to go to a Social Security office in person. Now, that might not sound like a big deal at first, but think about it. We're talking about tens of thousands of extra people being forced to visit already overwhelmed offices every single week. Even before these proposed changes, wait times for appointments could be over a month, and some offices don't even take walk-ins anymore. Imagine being 80 years old, struggling to get transportation, just trying to apply for benefits, and being told, sorry, you have to come in, and by the way, there's a month-long wait. And let's talk about the reasoning behind all this, which is supposedly to fight fraud. The problem? Social Security fraud is already extremely low. Government reports show that improper payments make up less than 1% of Social Security funds, and most of those aren't even fraud, they're administrative errors. Meanwhile, Elon Musk, who's now in charge of DOGE, has been claiming that fraud is draining the system. He even went on Fox Business recently and threw out a number saying 10% of government spending is lost to Social Security fraud. But here's the thing, that's not true at all. There's no data to back that up. And this isn't the only issue. On top of making the application process harder, the Social Security Administration is cutting 7,000 jobs. Let that sink in. They're reducing the workforce while simultaneously forcing more people to visit these offices in person. How is that supposed to work? Offices that are already stretched thin will now have tens of thousands of extra visitors every week and fewer people to process those claims. The math just doesn't add up. And here's where things get even more concerning. There's another proposal buried in these leaked memos that could completely cut off payments for certain Social Security recipients. Right now, if someone can't manage their benefits themselves, they can have a representative payee, usually a family member, help handle their payments. But under this new rule, if that representative doesn't have a Social Security number, the benefits stop. No exceptions. That means kids on disability, widows living abroad, people with cognitive impairments, all could suddenly find their payments frozen just because their representative doesn't have an SSN. Right now, the government already does background checks on these payees, so this isn't about security, it's just about cutting off payments. And the number of people affected? More than 170,000. That's a lot of people suddenly being left with nothing, all in the name of efficiency. Now, the big question, who benefits from all these changes? Because it sure doesn't seem like it's the people paying into Social Security. Elon Musk has been open about his views on Social Security, calling it the biggest Ponzi scheme of all time and pushing for drastic cuts. And DOGE, the agency he's running, has already tried to eliminate phone-based claims altogether, meaning the only way to apply would be online or in person. That didn't go through, but this new verification system looks like a sneaky way to get the same result. making it so difficult that a lot of people just won't be able to complete their applications. And let's not forget, these policies don't just affect retirees. A huge number of Americans rely on Social Security for disability benefits, survivors' benefits, and SSI. We're talking about people who, in many cases, literally cannot work. And now, they might have to travel long distances just to verify their identities in person or risk losing their payments because of a rule change they had no say in. The pushback against this has already started. Lawmakers, advocacy groups, and even some people inside the Social Security Administration are saying this is going to be a disaster. One official was even quoted saying that these changes are just creating obstacles for beneficiaries to access their money, plain and simple. So what happens next? Right now, the SSA hasn't officially confirmed these changes, but the leaked memos show that they're being seriously considered. There's a chance legal challenges could stop them, but if they do go through, millions of Americans could be looking at major delays, extra hoops to jump through, or even total loss of benefits. And that's why staying informed is so important. These kind of changes don't get huge headlines, but they affect real people in real ways. If you or someone you know relies on Social Security, now is the time to pay attention, ask questions, and speak up. Because once policies like this take effect, they're a lot harder to undo. If this was helpful, let me know in the comments. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing so you don't miss future updates on issues like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.